Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist, and today I'd like to talk to you about another one of my articles. It is entitled The Pink Star in Our Sky. And as we see here in figure 1, we have a very red, very pink actually sky. And these look like clouds that are being illuminated by pink light. Now, this is not normal to our planet because our sun emits white light. So the only way that we can have pink clouds in our sky is if there is a pink source of light. And a source of light is, of course, always a star. We can actually see that there seems to be a spherical object there, and this may be the source of this light. So this means that we must have a red and blue light emitting star in our sky, possibly close to the sun. And the reason for that is because white light is made up of, well, we can separate it into three main groups of wavelength or in frequency. But we can also name them. So it's blue, green, and red. And these are the colors that we observe with our eyes because the human eye detects visible light. And we would see light of the mid-range of frequencies in this whole visible spectrum as green. And we would see the more energetic light as blue and the less energetic at the end as red. Below the red, there will be, in the whole spectrum of light, there would be infrared. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Now, in order for there to be magenta light, we would have to combine the blue and the red in equal amounts. And then we would get magenta light. The white light would have to have the green light added in order for it to appear white. So this means that this star in our sky emits blue and red. It doesn't emit green, the green frequencies or the green wavelengths. And here we see this is the large blue stellar remnant or a stellar core. It's very large. As you can see, it's got a solid surface. We can see the grooves in the surface. It seems to create a gaseous plasma. Some of it is yellow. This could possibly be coming from the object itself. And we see some magenta colored plasma here. Now, I have been looking at this image for a while and I thought this is very strange. Why is this plasma pink? Why is it pink? Another word for pink is magenta, of course. And why is it pink? We actually see in the sun's corona, and the sun's corona is supposed to be white because the sun emits white light. But yet we see some pink plasma all over the place. We see it up here, we see in the sun's corona, we see it gathering around this object. Now this connection here actually looks whitish, so possibly it's coming directly from the sun, but there's definitely pink plasma gathering under this object. And I've been thinking this is very strange and what could possibly be causing this. And it would have to be a star close to the sun that is producing a corona or plasma that emits magenta colored light. So possibly there is an object somewhere which is also exchanging plasma with these other objects, or it could be that this object itself is producing a magenta colored plasma, in which case it may not be the one that is emitting the magenta color, or it will eventually, but there's possibly others that are doing that because our clouds have been looking magenta colored for quite a few months. So the object that is doing it is probably not in the same state as this blue brown dwarf star, which is still gathering its plasma. It will possibly eventually have gathered enough to cover its whole core, and then it may start operating like a star again. But at the moment, as you can see, we can see right into to the surface of the object its solid core. So this is possibly not the one. There's possibly another one around. And during the eclipse, as we can see, this is a picture from the eclipse. I know it looks very fake because it is fake. The moment we have straight lines, as we see here, we know this is a type of simulation of the actual sun and the moon. This is not real. But we also see something else, and that is a magenta colored object here. And we see a lot of magenta colored plasma around and close to the sun. So this object, because we did see it, that it was this kind of plasma close to the sun, there's possibly an object close to the sun that is emitting this kind of color. So this object is possibly behind the sun, although here it's not clear whether it is or not, because this is a simulation. It's a device simulating the sun. Now, it has come to my attention that there has been a patent filed in 1991 which describes the use of chemtrail particles, and these, well, according to this abstract and according to this patent, they are supposed to be used to reduce global warming, and this global warming would be produced by certain gases in the atmosphere that cause a greenhouse effect. Now, this patent also describes the method through which that would be done, and that is that a layer of these particles in the atmosphere would allow near-infrared radiation. That's the radiation that the Earth emits as heat. So most of the heat that most of the energy radiated by the Earth is in the near infrared. And this is the infrared light that's closest to visible light. So this kind of radiation would be allowed to go through the layer unhindered. However, the far infrared would be reflected. So far infrared light coming from outer space would be reflected by the layer. And what also would be reflected is the red wavelength light. So that means that if we have a magenta colored object in the sky that's emitting magenta light, in other words, red and blue combined, the red would be reflected by this layer. The blue would be allowed to go through. So that would mean that whatever object is out there would not look as red or as pink colored as it would outside the atmosphere. It would mainly look blue. And since our sky is blue anyway, it would not be as noticeable. So this is possibly one of the reasons for the kind of chemtrail spraying that we see. Notice that the idea, however, of reducing global warming does not make any sense, because the real damage is being done not by infrared radiation or by the fact that the Earth's atmosphere may be warming up, but actually by the UVC radiation that is now reaching the surface in large amounts. And this is happening because the chemtrail particles are destroying the ozone in the ozone layer, which is being depleted, which is allowing UVC radiation to reach the surface. And this UVC radiation is so damaging, it destroys all living organisms on the surface of the Earth. So this does not make any sense, that they would try to get rid of global warming when what they are doing is destroying every living organism on the surface of the Earth. Now, in addition, global warming is not caused by the presence of certain gases in the atmosphere, which then create a greenhouse effect. It is caused by the presence of brown dwarf stars close to the sun. The inside of our planet is warming up, just like the inside of all other planets in the solar system. This is leading to increased earthquake and volcanic activity because the Earth is warming up from the inside. The magnetic fields of these objects are affecting both the sun, which is emitting more and more cosmic radiation, and they themselves are emitting radiation. And even the high magnetic fields that they produce are creating currents in the ionosphere, on the surface of the Earth and inside the Earth, which is warming the Earth, our planet, from the inside. The magma inside the Earth is warming up. This is placing pressure on the crust, and so our oceans are warming up from the bottom. This is not due to gases in the atmosphere. And so there is no logical way to attribute the this increase in the Earth's temperature to greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So in conclusion, the powers that be use the excuse of global warming to place particles in the atmosphere for the purpose of hiding the objects congregated around the sun from the Earth's population. I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X researcher. Thank you for watching.